Good day, I'm Cody Ann Barrett and welcome to Frontline Business. Shareholders of distribution and retail conglomerate Derrimon Trading will be asked to consider increasing the authorized share capital of the company at a March 6, 2018 extraordinary general meeting. Derrimon is listed on the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange with over 273 million units in authorized shares. Shareholders will be asked to vote on a resolution for the creation of an additional 400 million shares. In addition, shareholders will be asked to designate the newly created shares as redeemable preference shares and granting the board the authority to issue those shares from time to time. A call is being made for workers at Petrojam and members of the public to be allowed to acquire shares in the oil refinery. The suggestion has come from the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, UCASE, which represents workers at Petrojam. Despite expressing opposition to the government's plan to acquire Venezuela's 49% shareholding in Petrojam, the union says if the government has no other option but to go that route, consideration should be given to workers and small investors purchasing some of the shares.
If we finally decide to dispose of the shares, then I think there should be an allocation being made to the workers through an ESOP program. Indeed, I would want to suggest that an issue be floated so that the Jamaican public can participate in the ownership of the company. I think it's a sort of arrangement that, the public would be very much warm to.
And Mr. Morrison had another word of caution regarding the sale of the 49% stake in Petrojam.
But I do hope, and this is the third point that I'm making, that the rush coming from the government to dispose of the Venezuelan interest, that they are not going to sell it to any other group. I heard, for example, that the Chinese had some interest some time ago.
There was a small decline in Jamaica's net international reserves, NIR, last month. It was down $4.9 million. However, the NIR was still valued at $3.2 billion or 23 weeks of goods and services. Lasco Distributors recorded a 28% increase in profit during the 9 months ended December 31. It achieved net profit of $535 million, an increase of $117 million over the corresponding period in 2016. Revenues were up $184 million at $12.2 billion. In the meantime, Lasco has filed its appeal in the Pfizer case. The company said the appeal was filed on December 8 and it is awaiting a court date. On November 24 last year, Lasco was awarded $273 million for damages and interest. The figure, which was handed down by the Supreme Court, was to compensate Lasco for damages it suffered as a result of the injunction that Pfizer obtained against it. It prevented Lasco from selling a generic drug used to treat hypertension in a case that lasted more than 7 years. And profit was also up over Salada Foods during the October to December quarter. It amounted to $26.7 million, a 55% increase over the $17 million recorded during the similar period in the previous year. Revenues rose 17% to $227 million. In Thursday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index advanced by 799 points to close at 295,934. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 48 stocks, of which 21 advanced, 21 declined, and 6 traded firm. The junior market index declined by 41 points to close at 2,885. Among the winners were Access Financial, Berger Paints, Cable and Wireless, CAC 2000, and Caribbean Producers. Stocks declined for 1834 Investments, Blue Power Group, C2W Music, Caribbean Cement, and Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances. Stocks traded firm for 138 Student Living, Siboney Group, Epley Limited, Jamaica Money Market Brokers, Medical Disposables, and Radio Jamaica. JMMB Group was the volume leader with over 2 million units, followed by Lasco Distributors with over 1 million units and Wisynco Group also with over 1 million units. On the foreign exchange markets, the US dollar is being sold for an average $125.89. It's costing $99.49 for the Canadian dollar, while the pound sterling is being sold for $175.33 and the euro for $156.24. News in oil. Oil prices fell in a volatile trade on Thursday, with Brent crude hitting its lowest in nearly 7 weeks after data showed U.S. crude output had reached record highs and the North Sea's largest crude pipeline reopened following an outage. Rising U.S. oil production and crude stockpiles, as well as a stock market sell-off, heaped pressure on oil prices this week. A stronger U.S. dollar has also been a prevailing factor for the decline. Brent crude futures ended Thursday's session down 72 cents or 1.1% to $64.79 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were down 72 cents or 1.2% to settle at $61.07 a barrel, having come close to wiping out the year's gains earlier this session. That put both benchmarks on track to decline for a fifth consecutive day, the longest losing streak for Brent since November 2017 and for WTI since April 2017. Brent futures have lost about 8% since hitting a 3-year high above $71 in late January. And that's it for Frontline Business. I'm Cody Ann Barrett. Regional stories are next after the break.